Bookworms, welcome back to my channel and to another review. Today I'll be talking about The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And this book popped up everywhere recently, and it's the New York Times #1 bestseller, which means absolutely nothing to me. Seriously, especially when it comes to thrillers, I honestly think that some random editors just randomly picks which new thriller is going to be the next best thing, and usually it corresponds to some current agenda. For example, in recent years we had some female-oriented, female-empowering books, and I thought this book is going to be something similar. I thought it's going to be another Girl on a Train, another Good Daughter, another Gone Girl, those kind of books, but I still decided to read it because I wanted to be proven wrong. I really wanted to give this book a chance. So was I proven wrong? Before I answer this question, let's talk a little bit about the plot of the book. We follow Theo, who is a psychotherapist who starts treating a woman called Alicia, who a few years ago murdered her beloved husband, and since then she just stopped talking, basically stopped communicating, and obviously she is the silent patient, and Theo is positive that he is the one that can help her. He can make her talk again and explain, did she really kill her husband, and if so, why, since their relationship was supposedly very good and they really loved each other. Now that's that in terms of the plot. Now let's go to my opinion. This was not a good book. It was badly written, repetitive, antagonizing, stereotypical, poorly researched, poorly edited. The only positive I can say about this book is that it wasn't boring. Not all parts were equally interesting, but it was at least a fast read with a premise that at first glance sounds like it's really interesting and unique, but it really isn't. In other words, it is, as I figured at the beginning, another throwaway junk thriller, even worse than the ones I mentioned at the beginning of this video, because I do remember having a bit more positive things to say about those, even though none of them resonate with me enough so that I can actually remember what those positives were. So I tried to figure out how I'm going to talk about this book, because on one hand I could just say, this book is bad and leave it at that, but you know, that's not really fair. I feel like I do need to get a little bit into detail and explain why I think that way. But on the other hand, I don't want to sit here for the next, I don't know, half hour just rant about things that annoy me about this book, because there were a lot of things here that really pissed me off. So instead, just to give you a couple of examples to why I think this book is so bad, I'll talk about some of the worst things that I found in The Silent Patient. Now, just remember that there are more. Almost every single page in this book had something that really irritated me, whether it was a description or something that a character said. Let's start with the fact that all the characters were awful, as in awful people. Look, I'm okay with antagonists and not so nice people, you know, after all, they exist, they deserve to be book characters as well. But there isn't one likable character in this entire book. Well, actually, there is one character, an orderly, and he appears for about like 5% of the book, and his job is to be nice and supportive. But all the rest, including Theo, including Alicia, including everyone, were just, they suck at being human beings. So obviously I didn't feel any sympathy for Alicia. I didn't want Theo to succeed. If anything, the book shows that therapists can be broken people too, which is a wonderful concept if Theo was portrayed as a damaged person who just wanted to help others instead of the creepy stalker that he was actually portrayed as. And all the characters are so stereotypical, it just seemed like they're only there to fill in a certain quota, you know, the asshole, the trusty one, and etc. Next, I will try, in not so many words, to describe why I think this book was poorly structured and poorly edited. You see, when you write something, sometimes you don't notice some minor details and you create plot holes, etc. And it's in the editing stage that you need to catch these mistakes and make sure that everything makes sense. So, as part of the lazy writing in The Silent Patient, we get a lot of tell, don't show. For example, like 2 seconds after we meet Theo, we get his entire tragic life story, you know, so that we'll know it. And also the book sets a lot of things without any payoff, and strangely enough, it also does the exact opposite. For example, we have this character who tells the second character that he thinks that there's something illegal going on, and the second character asks him, "How do you know that?" And he answers, "Well, I heard another character talk about it." And I was like, but I never heard it. I never read it in the book. And I wonder, was this scene deleted and no one noticed that it created plot holes? And this is just one example out of many. There are just so many missing details in this book. Another thing that really stood out to me was the portrayal of the psychiatric world and the institute or clinic where Alicia stays. This place is called The Grove. And you know what? I figure that this book should be the subject of one of those shows where professionals review works about their area of expertise for accuracy. You know, like those YouTube channels where doctors review hospital shows and tell you if it's accurate or not. And I am very curious to know what would a professional, a doctor, psychiatrist, nurse, whatever, what they would think about The Grove and the psychiatric world in this book. The staff doesn't behave in a way that I thought would be appropriate. Like, they eat together with the patient at the same cafeteria, but I don't know, is that a thing? Does it really work that way? Well, you know what? I am pretty sure that regardless of, eating with your patient is okay or not, I'm pretty sure that bitch isn't a medical diagnosis. Plus, other than the fact that Theo is a terrible therapist, also he starts working at the Grove, and on his first day, his first hour on the job, he just demands to treat Alicia, even though she has a different therapist already. But sure, why not? Let's just drop that therapist and give this patient to the new guy. Sure, why not? And then Theo starts treating Alicia, but only her. We never see him treating anyone else. And it's not like it's like this super rich private clinic. Look, I didn't do my research. I don't really know how in real life psychiatric clinic look like and how they work. But on the other hand, I also didn't write a novel taking place in one. And I honestly ask myself, what was the author thinking while he wrote this? Even to non-professional, these things don't even look like they make sense. And seriously, I'm sorry if I sound harsh, I know it's a debut novel, but seriously, I felt like this book was written by a child who is just repeating things that he heard adults saying in order to sound adult himself without actually understanding the meaning or the context of them. Okay, one last thing that I will talk about, and this is the ending. This is the thing that people have been really complaining about, or on the other hand, really loving. I find it's very interesting. I think it's really 50-50, black or white in this book. Either people really, really loved it and loved the ending, or people really, really hated it and hated the ending. Take a guess on which side I am. The ending of The Silent Patient did make me angry, but on the other hand, the entire book did. So here's the thing. There's this huge twist at the ending, and it got a lot of people really upset. And I generally wouldn't have in mind that kind of twist. I actually recently read another book with a similar twist, so I wouldn't have mind this as a category if it's done correctly. Look, when you got a twist that basically makes you doubt everything you read so far, this is a huge responsibility and you have to make it right. And unfortunately, Michaelides didn't. Also, unfortunately, this is one of those cases where in order to really figure out if things make sense or not, you have to reread this book, and I am not going to do that. But I'm pretty sure that there are plot holes, top of my head. The funny thing is that the entire book really didn't impress me, so I wasn't really upset about the ending. It was just a poorly done ending to a poorly written book. So, should I conclude? This is a nothing book. This is one of those things that you read in order to kill a few hours on a plane or a waiting room, and afterwards you finish it, you discard it, and you forget about it. I don't know who decided that this unremarkable thing will be the next best thing, #1 top bestseller, whatever, but I'm pretty sure it was random. Thrillers today are so in abundance that they're kind of like fast fashion. They are cheap, they're hastily made without any attention to little details and in poor quality, which is a shame because it's not a bad genre. So with this last thought, I am going to end this video. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to click like to show your support and to subscribe to my channel if you dare. And also write down in the comment section if you read The Silent Patient. Did you like it? Do you totally disagree with me or maybe agree on some points? I'm just curious to know your opinions. So guys, again, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.